Welcome to the Wellness Club, el sitio donde te quitas tus miedos y te empoderas a vivir una vida exitosa, saludable y con propósito. Yo soy tu host, Jennifer Desmet. Hello, my beautiful people. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to El Wellness Club. Yo soy tu host, Jennifer. Today, I have chosen to do something a little different. I am doing this whole episode in English and I am so uncomfortable. The whole idea behind the Wellness Club is because I wanted to I wanted to create this outlet of creativity where I could express in all the ways and forms. And definitely English is one of those ways. I think, write, and speak in English and Spanish. Actually, Spanglish, that's what I am. And I wanted to show you my whole being. So here I am trying to be as naked and vulnerable with you, just showing you this other part of me that I haven't brought to the podcast just. And again, I am just experimenting, so let's see how this goes. I'll be talking about something that is very deep to my heart, and honestly, I do believe it is one of the most powerful ways that I can empower women to reach their inner power, and it is dating yourself. I don't actually remember the first time that I went on a date with myself. It was probably back in the day when I used to live in Pasadena, California, and I took myself for a cute dinner at the Cheesecake Factory right on Colorado Boulevard. Just for background information, Pasadena was the first city that I went to live in the US when I just moved there. And I remember this day very clearly. I was getting off the university, I was exhausted and hungry. So I said, okay, I'm just gonna go to the Cheesecake Factory by myself. And I remember the feeling of freedom, the sense of abundance. It was the first time that I only had to worry about me and what I wanted. Of course, my beginnings were super humble. Taking myself on such quote-unquote expensive dinner was only once per month type of thing. That's all I could afford in that moment of my life. And from that day on, I discovered the power of being alone and the importance to be with me, only with me, my thoughts, myself, my being. I did not realize at the moment, but everything I did was pretty much a date with myself. As I mentioned before, this was the first time that I was living by myself when I just moved to the US. And yes, as you already know, I am very open. I knew a lot of people. And yes, I used to talk to everyone pretty much. But at the end of the day, I realized that it was me that I spent most of the time with. I learned that even though you had all these people around you, nobody was gonna come and save me. I mean, I'm coming from a family that I've been very privileged, where my parents spoiled me very much. When I was living back in Nicaragua, I didn't struggle to do anything. And then I was in this foreign country living by myself, and I had to do everything by myself, which was one of the biggest blessings of my life, because that forced me to grow in so many different areas that I didn't even know. So here I am, living by myself and learning how to do all these things by myself. I realized that I am the one that I spend the majority of the time. At this very early age, I learned that your decisions should be based out of what you want and what is best for you, instead of trying to impress everyone around you. And the reason why you should be doing this is because you are literally the person that will be with yourself literally till the end of times. You are the constant relationship throughout all your life. Yes, you could have a beautiful relationship with your sister, with your brother, with your family overall, with your parents, with your partner, with your sons and daughters. And that is so beautiful. Yes. And it is so important too. But the constant relationship that you will have till the end of time is the one that you have with yourself. This is why it is so important to prioritize time with yourself. And that is the whole idea behind this episode, dating yourself. I have mentioned this before on the podcast, but if there is one thing that you should definitely do in your time here on planet Earth, is developing and learning and embracing the art of getting to know yourself. Just like when you're dating or you're making new friends, in order to get to know them, you really need to spend time with them, right? Like, you want to know what they like, what don't they like, what do they need to thrive, and so on and so forth. So we need to nurture this relationship with ourselves. Like, what do we want? What do we like? What don't we like? What do I need to thrive? And there is this concept of caring for yourself just as you would care for your friends. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes we are so harsh on ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves. We talk to ourselves in such a harsh way. Like, for example, you're so lazy, you cannot do anything right, you're so stupid, why didn't you do that faster? And we talk to ourselves so badly, right? And the antidote that I have learned in order to treat myself in a better way is, would you treat your friend in the same way you're speaking to yourself? Let's say your best friend comes to you and they made a mistake. Would you talk to them the same way that you're talking to yourself? In most scenario, the answer is no. So why are you calling yourself all those things? I know, just food for thought, because believe me, I've been there. I am such an ambitious woman, and I expect excellence and perfectionism and so much from myself, that I have been on this self-compassion journey for the longest time, believe me. So that's why I am able to talk about this now, because I've been one of those persons that have talked to myself really bad and really harsh when I don't get the results. Okay, let's talk about the art of choosing yourself. I have seen this everywhere. I have seen it in my family, the most empowered women in my family, my sister and my mom. I have seen it in extended family. I've seen it in my friends. I've seen it in my teams, my colleagues, all the women around me. We are such given beings, like, women are so giving overall. Like, we're so busy giving to our families, to our partners, to our kids, to our manager, to our teams. oh my God, what about me? What about me? When do I have time for me? When do I make time for me? And here's the thing. The thing is that you cannot pour from an empty vessel. And this is such a like a simple yet deep concept that yes, we want to give so much. We want to be there for our loved ones. But how can you give if you are empty inside? There's nothing left to give to your loved ones when you don't take care of yourself. I really hope this makes sense. I'm not sure if I'm explaining this correctly, but it's like you cannot pour water from an empty vessel. You need to pour yourself first before you give to your loved ones. It's like the whole airplane emergency mask oxygen thing all over again. Like, I know we're traveling with small children, and I'm sure that for the majority of moms out there, the first instinct is to take care of the baby first, right? But they instruct you to put the mask on yourself first because it's the only way that you can help the others too. It's just this little concept that in my life and for the ones around me, it's very difficult to grasp because we are such giving beings that it's difficult for us to choose ourselves before anyone else. And I know that you might be thinking, oh my God, but I can't be this selfish. You are so selfish. You are saying all that because you have no kids. Yes, maybe. Yes, I am super centered, whatever you want to call me. But I know that the other way around, putting the rest of the world first and you last, that mechanism does not work and that does not give you the results that you're expecting. And yes, it will be so difficult to choose yourself. People will judge you, that's for sure. People will judge you when you start putting your boundaries and you start demanding your alone time and your solo dates and that time. But in my humble experience and in the short time that I've been here on earth, I can assure you that the alternative way of giving to other people, to your loved ones, to everyone around you first and leaving yourself last does not work. Does not work. I truly believe that when we choose ourselves in moments like this, like little by little, day by day, our confidence increases and increases slowly but surely. You will be doing incredible things because again, I want to repeat that choosing yourself is not a selfish thing to do. It's actually the more abundant thing to do because the more you give to yourself, the more you have to give to others. I want you to take that in today. If you're taking one little thing from this podcast today, I would like it to be that the more time and the more attention, the more love and self-compassion that you give to yourself, the more you have to give to others. The more you choose yourself, the more your confidence grows and the more incredible things you will be able to do, not only for yourself, but all the loved ones around you. Facing and embracing the fear of being alone. Oh my God, I understand that there is a tremendous, tremendous fear of being alone. And I say this because I've been there too. Oh my goodness. I remember when I was moving out of my college apartment and I moved from LA to San Francisco to go and experience my first job as a big girl. I was moving into the financial district. I was so happy. I felt so accomplished. I felt like, oh my God, I'm ready to take over the world. I am such an adult now. I am gonna live by myself. Dude, I didn't last 10 days. I didn't last 10 days. To be fair, it was because I moved to San Francisco and quarantine just started. So I thought to myself, I was terrified. I was terrified. I was paralyzed. I thought to myself, if the world is gonna end, I do not want to be alone. I understand the fear of being alone. It is a very common fear. And I am sure all of us have experienced it. But learning to embrace and learning to accept and learning to get to know yourself when you are alone, it's the most rewarding experience you can do for yourself. And I am not exaggerating a little bit in that when I say that. Like, why are you so afraid of you? Why are you so afraid of sitting with your thoughts? And I understand that that could be such a scary thing, but I challenge you. I really challenge you to spend time with yourself. To spend time with yourself. And I am not talking about numbing yourself all the time that you're alone, like scrolling on social media or Netflix binge watching. Even though if that's what you're craving, when you want to have your alone time, that's totally okay. But just be conscious about it. Just be self-aware that, okay, this is time for myself. This is the time I want to spend with myself. And I am exhausted, so I'm just gonna binge watch all these series on Netflix that I love. But what I'm encouraging you with today's episode is to really try to use some of the time dedicated to yourself, to be mindful, intentional, and conscious about yourself. What thoughts are you having? What is a common theme within your thoughts? Like, what are your most recurring thoughts? What are your dreams and biggest aspirations? Sometimes we get so caught into the minutia of the everyday. Like, we get up and we start answering emails. We need to attend our son's school meeting. We need to run because we're running late to that event. We need to get ready. We need to meet friends for dinner. We get so caught into the minutia of the everyday that we really forget about, why are we doing all this? What is my biggest aspiration? What do I want to do? Where are you struggling right now? Where are you struggling right now? Maybe there is a specific area of your career, professional life that you're struggling. Maybe you need to learn more about finance. Maybe you are feeling lonely even though you're surrounded by people. Where are you struggling right now? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel stressed? Do you feel seen and heard? Do you feel realized, actualized? How are you really? Are you happy? Are you content with the things that you're doing in your everyday? Like, what would you like to do with your life? Do you like what you're doing with your life right now? Would you like to totally change the direction of your life? Where would you like to live? Where would you like to go next? Would you like to have kids? Would you like to get a new boyfriend? Would you like to get a divorce? Spending time with ourselves and trying to find clarity on who we are and what do we really want to do for our lives, I can assure you, is the most beautiful thing that we can do for ourselves. Like, there is nothing that you can compare to a woman that is self-confident about who she is and where does she want to go. It is so attractive. It is so magnetic. It is so beautiful to experience and be. that it is gorgeous to be around those type of women. I actually find myself very often talking to myself in the house, like literally out loud, when things are going really bad or when things are going really good. Like, good morning, my bebecita linda. This is really why I call my friends or my students or you guys. I called you my bebecitas or bebecitos because that's literally how I called myself. I look at myself in the mirror and I talk to myself like that. Good morning, mi bebecita. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo te sientes? ¿Qué quieres hoy? And I literally start talking to myself like, oh, I feel like I am not being disciplined enough, so I need to do this, do that. Or I feel like whoever is not listening to me, I feel like I should be doing something else. I literally talk to myself out loud. And on top of that, maybe I'm being extra, like you don't need to do any of this, but I'm just telling you, I record myself. I literally record myself like if I was in a therapy session. I never actually go back and rewatch those things, but the thing that makes you like more aware of the things that you're saying if you're recording yourself when you're alone and you do absolutely everything that you want to do, it is so magical. Like, I love being with my own company. Like, I am not kidding. I love being alone and I love me. Like, I am such a cool person to be around. Being brutal honest with yourself. Understanding yourself is the biggest gift you can do for yourself where you're here on earth. I mentioned this before, but I'm just like repeating and reiterating that the art of getting to know yourself, it is so beautiful. Like, just spend the time to get to know yourself. There are so many benefits about dating yourself, like I mentioned before. Get to know yourself better than anyone else. What are your emotional needs? Like, what do you actually need in order to succeed? When you take the time to understand yourself, you realize that relying on somebody else to quote unquote complete you or come and save you becomes not only unrealistic but unnecessary. Like, if you don't know yourself, how can you expect anyone else to understand you fully? Or even to connect with you on a level that is genuine and lasting? Remember, you need to know yourself first. Dating yourself gives you the clarity of confidence to show up in relationship as a whole. Again, as I mentioned, there is nothing more attractive, more magnetic in a woman that knows herself, that knows exactly what you are and what you need, instead of depending on other people to fulfill those needs for you. Like, that doesn't really make sense. That doesn't really make sense, and I hope you understand this. I want to reiterate that this whole process of self-discovery will help you cultivate a kind of inner resilience, independence, and self-confidence that is